All right, let's talk about securing your digital front door. Every single time a user connects to your network from the outside, they're essentially showing their ID to a digital bouncer. Well, today we're going to look at that ID. We're talking about the Horizon Gateway Certificate. It is the thing that decides who gets in and who stays out, keeping your whole operation locked down tight.
So, here's the plan. We'll start with what this digital gatekeeper really is. Then we'll get into why trust is, well, everything in this equation. After that, we'll hit the production standards, what you have to do in a live setup. We'll also look at some more advanced security configurations and finish up by seeing how managing these certificates has gotten a whole lot easier lately.
Okay, let's kick things off with our first section, the digital gatekeeper. So, what exactly is this Horizon Gateway Certificate we're talking about? You know, at the end of the day, it's pretty much the foundation of your entire remote access security strategy. So, on a technical level, it's an SSL/TLS certificate. You've seen this tech everywhere, right? It's the standard for keeping internet connections secure. This specific certificate gets installed on your Unified Access Gateway, the UAG. And that UAG is basically the security guard sitting right at the edge of your network. So its main job is simple but critical. Verify and secure every single person trying to get to your virtual desktops and applications.
You know, I think this is the absolute best way to understand the difference. A self-signed certificate, that's like you scribbling "trust me" on a sticky note and handing it to someone. I mean, would you trust it? It doesn't prove anything. But a CA-signed certificate, that's a whole different ballgame. That's like a government-issued passport. A real, recognized authority has checked you out and vouched for you. It's really the difference between just hoping you're secure and actually knowing you are.
All right, Section 2, why trust is everything. So how much does that passport really matter? Well, when it comes to remote access, that third-party trust is absolutely everything. Let's break down the risks of getting it wrong and the rewards of getting it right. So let's ask the big question. What's the actual risk here? What happens if you just stick with that default untrusted certificate, that "trust me" sticky note? What are the real consequences? Okay, so this certificate is doing a few incredibly important jobs all at once. First, it encrypts the user's entire session. So all that data flying back and forth, whether you're using BLAST or PCOIP, is completely scrambled and unreadable to outsiders. Second, it proves to the user's computer that it's talking to your UAG and not some fake one set up by a hacker. This is huge because it's what stops those nasty man-in-the-middle attacks. Without this, an attacker could just sit between your user and you, and you'd never know. It really is that simple. Without that verified trust, your front door is basically unlocked. That brings us right to the practical stuff. We know the risks, so what's the non-negotiable, gotta-do-it standard when you're talking about a real, live production environment? And here it is, the golden rule. For production environments, it is recommended to replace the default self-signed certificate with one from a trusted certificate authority. Now, I know it says recommended, but let's be real. This is not a suggestion. It's a fundamental best practice. If you have real users connecting to get real work done, you absolutely must replace that default certificate. The takeaway is simple. Production means a CA-signed certificate. End of story. And, just as a quick technical note, when you do go to replace it, the system gives you options. You can use either PFX or PEM formats. They're just two different, very common ways to bundle up the certificate file for installation. Okay, let's move on to some more advanced stuff. We're going to look at a couple of special deployment scenarios where this certificate plays an even more critical, specialized role in keeping things secure. So in some really high security environments, you'll see something called a double DMZ. Think of it as having two security checkpoints instead of one. You've got an external UAG and an internal UAG. Now, for this to work, the one on the outside has to trust the one on the inside. How does it do that? It checks the certificate's thumbprint, which is just a unique digital fingerprint. And here's the kicker. For those thumbprints to match up, both of those UAGs have to be using the exact same trusted certificate. It's a mandatory part of the setup. The certificate also has another really specific job when it comes to the BLAST protocol. It authorizes what are called BLAST reverse connections. It sounds complicated, but think of it like this. It's a security check to make sure that any traffic coming out of your internal network back to the user is only going through the proper trusted gateway. It's what stops a malicious actor from creating a secret backdoor connection out of your network. And for our last section, let's talk about how things have changed for the better. We're going to look at how managing these critical certificates has actually evolved and gotten a lot less painful over time.
So the Horizon 2012 release was a huge turning point for admins. Before that release, believe me, managing these certificates was a real pain, a totally manual, cumbersome process. But after 2012, the tools are now built right into the console. And that is a total game changer. You can now monitor everything, handle renewals, all from one central spot. It's all about making the right way to do security also the easy way.
So let's wrap it all up with this final thought. Your unified access gateway, that's the digital front door for your entire company. And the certificate we've been talking about, that's the key. Using a default self-signed certificate is literally like leaving a key under the doormat for anyone to find. So the question you really have to ask yourself is, who are you handing the keys to? Just yourself with a handwritten note, or a globally trusted authority that everyone recognizes?